all live in Iowa, so starting every spring we have to deal with the threat of tornadoes. And so who here has seen Twister or Night of the Twisters or any other tornado-related movies? When I was little, those were like horror movies to me. I would watch those and have nightmares, but for some reason I was still fascinated by the weather, and I always have been, probably because we have to deal with it on a daily basis. And I was particularly interested in tornadoes. It's important to know a little bit about them so we can be prepared for when they happen. So today I plan on telling you what they are and how they are formed, and then just some that were particularly destructive and how to be prepared for when one happens. So they can wreak havoc and cause large amounts of damage in a relatively short amount of time. They're tight vortexes of air, and the wind speeds can reach up to 300 miles an hour. They're usually less than several hundred feet across, but they've been known to be larger, like the one that was a mile wide. I think that was in Moore, Oklahoma. And they first become visible as funnel clouds. Thing right there dropping out of the sky, and they're steered by the jet stream, so they usually move northeast for about 5 to 15 miles. And conditions have to be just right for a tornado to form. The area known as Tornado Alley, which we're in also, is ideal because there's the Gulf of Mexico that sends up the warm air, and then Canada sends down the cool air. And we need that warm, moist air and the cool, dry air to meet to form the supercell thunderstorms, which tornadoes are made from. The interactions between the updrafts and the surrounding winds are what causes the rotation. So it makes sense because the air is going up and there's the winds pushing it, making it rotate. And there's certain times of day when they're most common, and that's late afternoon into the evening during spring and summer. And the enhanced Fujita scale was adopted in 2007 from the just regular Fujita scale, and it was enhanced to make it easier and more uniform to assess the damage. It was made for like different building codes, so it's more uniform. It goes from the EF0 to EF5, with EF0 being small amounts of damage like roofs stripped and small trees blown over, and then EF5, which is total damage. And there's been some notable ones. This is the damage from the tornado that hit Joplin. And one of the worst ones in the history of the United States happened March 18, 1925. It happened over 3 states. It is known as the Tri-State. And it killed 695 people in the states of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. It had the longest path and was the longest lived of any tornado in the United States. And on May 25th, 2008, there's the EF5 that hit Parkersburg, and it killed 7 people. So it wasn't as much compared to the other ones, but it happened in Iowa, and I remember when it happened and it seemed like a big deal. And then there's the tornado outbreak of 2011, which happened over 3 days. And there were 321 fatalities throughout 6 states. And this is the largest outbreak in the United States. And then on May 22nd, 2011, there was the EF5 that hit Joplin and killed 158 people. And it was the deadliest single tornado in the United States since 1950, when they began to keep federal records of these storms. So the best way to deal with tornadoes is to be prepared because we can't control the weather. So when there's a tornado watch and warning, they're issued by the National Weather Service. And the watch means that the atmospheric conditions are favorable for storms that could produce tornadoes. And a tornado warning means that the tornado or a funnel cloud or the rotation has been spotted by spotters or picked up by the Doppler radar. And if there is a tornado, you should get to the lowest and most sheltered place you can find. So if you're in a house, you should go to the basement or a small interior room if you don't have a basement. And stay away from windows because broken glass could really hurt you and stuff could just be flying. And get yourself under some heavy furniture. And if you're in a place such as a school, go to the designated area, which should be a lower interior hallway. And stay out of gyms and auditoriums because it's just a large open free-span room which could collapse. And then if you're out in the open, go lay in a ditch away from power lines. And if you're in a mobile home or a camper or something, get out and go to a shelter. And it's important to know a little bit about tornadoes so we can be prepared. And you should know about them because how they're formed and some important ones that happen so you can be safe and know what to do. And we can't control the weather, but knowing about the weather is the next best thing. Any questions?
Say the right person.